Hey everybody, it's Party Elite. Welcome back to our Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader Let's Play, where we finally made planetfall on Kiabagama to uncover exactly how deep this corruption has spread. And, truth be told, it seems to have spread extremely deep. Folks, our arrival at the system last session was a terrifying ordeal that almost cost us our ship, and our actual arrival over here has seen absolutely no welcoming party, and just chaos, capital and lowercase c, all around us. I mean, look at this place. It's a mess. Now, before we go any further, the first order of business is going to be to level all of our party members up, and I have taken a look at what's available to everybody, and I've made some decisions, though I'll very quickly highlight exactly what it is that I am picking, as well as what I'm leaving behind. So, the Rogue Trader and Cassia are both strategists, so they're going to have access to the same additional talents over here, and I just want to, again, highlight what the options are, but I've already made my decision with regards to what we're going to do. So we've got focused strategy, which affects, or comes into effect, I should say, when we use a stratagem, but there's only one ally being impacted by that stratagem. So what happens is that ally gains an additional action point as well as 2 additional movement points. I feel like we rarely find ourselves in that position where we're trying to impact only one ally with a stratagem. So I don't think we're really going to take advantage of focused strategy all that often, which is why I'd rather avoid it. It just seems it seems unlikely to come up. Then we've got personal strategy over here. The strategist receives bonuses of grand strategist ability of his own stratagems, which I assume only kicks in if he's actually put a stratagem down, so it's not like he starts with those grand strategist bonuses at all times. I feel like those stratagems need to actually be active. Assuming that's the case, while this could be helpful for things like the, extra hit chance, or if we switch to a different weapon, the extra rate of fire could be helpful. Again, it's not something that would make the biggest difference in any given combat situation, so I feel like this one can also be left behind. Resting strategy is if we don't use Grand Strategist in a turn, then when we use it in the turn afterwards, it won't cost us any action points. This personal strategy also increases resolve by strategist fellowship bonus for 1 turn. I mean, that's all good stuff, but typically when I use a stratagem, I also use Grand Strategist for that extra benefit. I mean, think about it. Why would I skip past the benefit of additional, rate of fire just to get it for free in the next turn? Ideally, there won't be a next turn because Argenta has already blown everyone to bits in this current turn because we did get that extra couple of shots from the added rate of fire, right? So again, I can see where it could be useful, but based on how we play and how we approach situations, I don't think resting strategy is worth picking. So we're going to go with perfect strategy. Affecting 3 or more allies within one stratagem refunds the strategist 1 action point. So that basically means our Grand Strategist action will be free pretty much all the time. As long as we're able to get 3 or more allies within that little box of the stratagem, we should be able to get a free action point for our strategist at all times. And that just means, rather than having to pull a regular shot, we can actually do our plasma overcharge, or it means we can throw a grenade or whatever it might be, because typically we end up with 1 action point. But with this, we should end up with 2 action points again, as long as we manage to hit 3 or more allies within one stratagem. Now, the question becomes, which 3 do we try to hit with the overwhelming stratagem, right? Argenta, Cassia, and Abelard. Abelard can't glean the benefits of the extra rate of fire, but that's fine. If he's in the same area, or if it's those 2 with Pascal in the same area, it still gives us the benefit. It still gives our strategist the extra action point. So it kind of works out that way, depending on, of course, initiative orders and things like that. But I think perfect strategy is the one that's most likely to come up most often, so that's what we're going to go with. And everything else over here we've already seen before. It's just the weapons experts, and it will not die, which increases our wounds as well. It gives us a bit more HP, but I don't think we need that. I think we're doing okay. So let's go with perfect strategy over here. Accept that selection. Thank you very much. And again, you know what, Cassia, you're going to get the same thing, so why don't we go ahead and do that right now and get you perfect strategy. Now, we do have additional options over here. We've got swift movements for increased movement points. We've got nimble over here for better dodge. We also have it will not die. Everything else is the same, well, including it will not die. Everything else is like all weapon proficiency related. We've got dueling mastery over here as well. Bonus to parry is not, well, hopefully Cassia never finds herself needing to parry anything. But yeah, otherwise it's all stuff we're very familiar with, including Combat Master over here. Enemies don't gain any bonuses from outnumbering the Combat Master in melee. Let's go with Perfect Strategy as discussed. Commanding strategy is what? The strategist may use leader abilities on ally targets within any stratagem from any distance. Right, so we got that earlier for both the Rogue Trader and Cassia, and it's been useless. As far as I've been able to tell, it hasn't actually come up. I feel like maybe it's not been implemented, but whatever it is, perfect strategy it shall be. Accept that selection. Thank you very much. Over to Heinrichs over here, our Vanguard. He actually gets access to a talent as well as a skill. So let's go ahead and, or I should say a skill upgrade. So let's go ahead and do the talent first. First into battle is what makes most sense over here for Heinrichs. We've got Camaraderie, applying voice of command on an ally in an adjacent cell refunds 1 action point. That's great, except we never use voice of command pretty much. And I can't even recall if Heinrichs has it. Immovable Fortress gets us additional deflection, which can come in handy, but its health has never been a problem for the vast majority of our party. Defensive capabilities have never been a problem for the vast majority of our party. Last Stand allows us to gain deflection and absorption when health falls below a certain threshold. I don't think Heinrichs has ever been below that threshold. Unyielding Starts gives us a couple of stacks of Unyielding Beacon right at the beginning of a new combat, which will come in handy because of first into battle, but we'll get that afterwards somewhere down the line. Vanguard Position gives us additional dodge and parry when there are no allies around us, but Heinrichs is supposed to go up in melee to go toe-to-toe with the enemies alongside the Rogue Trader and Abelard, so Vanguard Position is unlikely to come up all that often, and again, dodge and parry, I don't find them to be all that important. Everything else we're familiar with, we've seen them and talked about them when looking at Cassia and the Rogue Trader, but then there's Favored by the Warp. Whenever the Psyker triggers a psychic phenomena, within a 30% chance, it'll be centered on a random... Wait, hold on, does that sentence not make sense, or am I reading it wrong? Whenever the Psyker triggers a psychic phenomena, with a 30% chance, it'll be centered on a random enemy within range 10 instead of them. I know what it's trying to say, but that sentence structure is wrong. Either way, I don't think psychic phenomena are in the game. I've not seen one triggered even once, and that was even when we had Idira around and we were using her chain lightning ability and stuff. So I don't think psychic phenomena are implemented just quite yet, or they're bugged out currently. Whatever it might be, it's an alpha. It's fine. Otherwise, we have focused mind to improve concentration. Again, not stuff that I think is going to be useful given our current circumstances. So let's go with First into Battle. After using the charge ability, all the Vanguard's attacks against their enemies in a 3-cell radius deal 1+ Unyielding Beacon stack divided by 3 bonus until the end of the next turn. So we're pretty much always charging in with Heinrichs, so automatically we get a +1 to damage. And then if we start actually focusing on Unyielding Beacon, that damage output only goes higher and higher. Now, truth be told, it's not going to be all that much, but hey, it's better than all the other options we have that don't really come in handy based on our playstyle. Again, I'm not saying they're all useless. I'm just saying based on our playstyle, they don't really come as much in handy, I don't think, as First into Battle. So, First into Battle it shall be for Heinrichs, accept that selection. And as for his skill, I feel like we should maybe upgrade his athletics, get him up to 60 there. His, what's his strength? His strength is 45. Because I'm sure further down the line at one point in time we'll be able to upgrade a characteristic, and at that point in time if I upgrade his strength then his athletics would go up as well, right, because they're tied. Same thing goes for Carouse and his toughness though, so it's like one or the other basically. Persuasion, I see no reason to upgrade that. His lore skills are fine as they are. Coercion is fine. Yeah, you know what, fine. Let's go ahead and improve his athletics. It's not going to make that much of a difference. I'll accept that, take it up to 65. I keep forgetting it's +10 for skills, but yeah, sure, he's an athletic individual, whereas Abelard is his athletic competitor, I suppose. Abelard also has an extremely high toughness, right, compared to Heinrichs. Well, he has the next level of toughness bonus. Nonetheless, over to our veteran over here to give him an upgraded characteristic. Let's pump up his weapon skill to get it up to 50. get him a weapon skill bonus of 5, but also make him better at hitting targets when he's using his melee equipment. It's like I'm almost tempted to keep his ballistic skill up with his weapon skill, but he's been hitting fine with his Melta. So let's up that weapon skill. Let's go for it. Accept that, get it up to 50, excellent. Then over to Argenta, who as a veteran is able to choose a characteristic as well. But as you can see, I think at least, her ballistic skill has capped out. Again, based on the career you've chosen, and based on, well, just based on the career you've chosen, you are limited to what you can actually upgrade, and you can only upgrade things so much. I forget how many times you can upgrade them based on the rulebook, but you can only upgrade them so much. So I think we've actually capped ballistic skill over here. Not 100% sure, but I'm fairly certain that the veterans should be able to upgrade their ballistic skill, and we can't anymore because we've capped. Don't quote me on that, but I'm fairly certain that's what's going on. Anyway, let's go ahead and improve, agility over here. Agility helps with dodging, if I'm not mistaken. It also helps with demolition. We could use that. Take demolition up to 50. Probably not a bad idea, right? I wish I could hover over this and maybe once I do that, because I know there's a tooltip here. There it is. It's like you have to click the upgrade button and then hover over the exact right spot to get the tooltip to pop up. And I feel like I've lost that exact spot. We had it for a split second there. Well, it is what it is. I'm gonna go with agility over here. Accept that. And watch, now that I've actually accepted it, now I can get the pop-up more consistently. But yeah, high agility can allow a character to manipulate delicate machinery with finesse, or keep their footing when crossing treacherous terrain. This characteristic also determines a character's movement rate. The higher the agility bonus, the farther they can move each turn. Okay, well that sounds good. I stand corrected. I guess dodge is not tied to a characteristic. I do believe in Dark Heresy, dodge is tied to your agility, but I could be mistaken, and I apologize if I've got that wrong. Again, it's been a while since I played in these systems. Over to our assassin, Pascal, our one and only now. He's got a characteristic he can upgrade as well. Why is your willpower so low? Oh, right, he's carrying the Sinister Diary. We'll keep it on for the time being. Oh, you know what, actually? On Kiabagama, maybe he should play it a bit more safely. He might be the target of God knows what. So maybe I should consider that as we upgrade his agility as well, getting him to move a little bit faster, getting him into combat more quickly, so on and so forth. Seems like a good idea. Perception could also be taken up to a perception bonus of 6, but I don't think that's necessary. I think we're okay at 55. So let's get agility up to 40, accept that. And that is our lovely party all upgraded. Let's go ahead and take a look at Pascal, though, and make sure he is no longer carrying the Sinister Diary. Gives him +6 bonus to lore warp tests and -6 penalty to willpower tests. Let's put this away for the time being. Let's try and remember that we have it, though, so we can put it back on when necessary, right? And for the time being, why don't we go ahead and get either Combi Tool for +5 to tech use tests. Might not be a terrible idea. We're at 90. Or I was thinking we get the Diagnostor for increased Medicae. But I don't think we need the increased Medicae, truth be told. I think we're fine as we are like this. And we do have Million Cloak, which I don't think we're going to be using. Got some armor. We have a lot of junk over here. We have a lot of junk over here. I wish I could toss it more into our cargo. Hindsight 2020, I suppose. Nonetheless, we are done here. We're done with character progression. Let's go ahead and, I think, creep forward towards this guy. We have, just as a reminder, that option there, and then further back over here, there was a servitor, if memory serves me correctly, sort of just hanging out over here, clearly under the influence of something. But I think we'll go ahead and engage with this tech priest first, and see what's been going on. Let's go. Oh, wow. Alright, here we go. What are the chances, though? What are the chances I actually stopped last session exactly, like, just before triggering a cutscene and a conversation? What luck. Hopefully the Emperor continues to be with us in that form of good luck throughout today's session. The lumps all over the tech priest's figure, wrapped in a disheveled red robe, hint at hidden mechanisms implanted in his body. You see his face under the archaic respirator implant, haggard and sickly. A click, a clank, a barely audible hiss, and only then the tech priest's vox finishes the word. Identification. Request denied. Pascal turns to you, his visor gleaming crimson. Registering anomalous behavior within the servant's organics and an invalid noosphere response. This unit is compromised. Okay, I could try to use my really poor awareness skill. Actually, I think we're okay. With Argenta, I think we're okay to examine the tech priest. I could identify myself as the heir to the Von Valancius name. We could ask, who are you? Is that any way to greet the master of your world, or I will teach you some respect? Look, Pascal has given us a very clear warning over here, and I'm not so foolish as to ignore the advice of my elite retinue. Let's examine the tech priest with the help of Argenta over here. Hope for a success. Nice. Carefully, you study the robe-clad figure. A black hem of necrosis spreads out from around the tech priest's implants. For some reason, his body seems to reject the true flesh. A moment later, you recognize the dominant smell in the bouquet of scents permeating the air around the tech priest. The stench of rotten meat. Yeah, that ain't right. That ain't right. I can ask him who he is, see how far we're able to get with the tech priest. It's gonna go down to combat, I'm fairly confident, but let's see if we can't glean any information before we actually engage. Who are you? The tech priest clicks his relay. Magos Custos of the Machine Sanctum, Tier 2-0. Identification. Alright, the Fabricator is a traitor to the Imperium and humanity. I won't execute any protocols approved by him. Where is the Fabricator? I will only speak with the one who runs this manufactorum. That might work out. What's happening on this planet? Why is the governor not responding to the ship's calls? What are heretic ships doing in this system? So, I believe we know that the Fabricator is a traitor because of one of the void ships we interacted with many systems ago now, right? I'm pretty sure that's where it was revealed to us just how, far the heresy goes, and I think that's why we have these dialogue options. So I'm curious, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I'm pretty sure that's why it's happening, and I'm curious how differently this might play out if we didn't have that information. Now, clearly this guy is on board with everything the Fabricator is up to, so I'm not about to tell him the truth right now. That the Fabricator is a traitor, etc., so on and so forth. I'm going to ask him, where is the Fabricator? I will only speak with the one who runs this manufactorum. Denied. The irregularity demands execution of Protocol 39-24 in accordance with the Fabricator's decree. Oh boy. Don't necessarily like these protocols. I won't be executing anything until I meet with the Fabricator. Except for this guy, obviously, if he decides to act up. Anticipated process disrupted. Execution of disposal protocol recommended. Here we go. There we go. The tech priest draws his weapon, and as his robe opens, your senses are hit by a fetid wave of rot. What do we have? Oh, dang. All right. Of course there's more to it than first meets the eye. All right. We're okay. This isn't all that scary. I'm more worried about additional reinforcements or something coming through. I was really hoping we'd be able to talk our way out of that, but let's be real. I don't think that was ever likely to happen. I don't think that was ever likely to happen. I'm curious if this corrupted servitor back over here is going to show up as well. We'll need to keep an eye out for him, but for the time being, especially with Abelard moving first, we could just hit these guys with a Melta and get some decent damage done. Argenta moves next, and then it's the volatile servitor. I don't like the sound of that. Are you going to blow up on me? I don't like the sound of that at all. But then it's Cassia, Pascal, everybody else, and then Heinrichs, and then us right at the end. Wow. Wow. Useless. Okay, Abelard, do I creep you up to the full cover over here? And then pop the Melta from there? That seems like the right call. We can hit almost everybody. If I just go head on, let's just see what that does in terms of our reach. Same thing, we hit almost everybody. I'm kind of really worried about these volatile servitors. I don't have a crack grenade on Abelard, which is unfortunate, so it'll have to be the Melta. But if we go head on, we'll be able to hit all of the volatile servitors. If we come in from the side, then we are only hitting most of them. But we are also getting the guy behind them, right? The Magos Heretic. There you go, Heretic. Doing a lot of damage to him, too. Maybe that's the right call. Maybe that's the right call. As long as we hit the guy who's coming up next, I don't think we're going to destroy him, but Argenta's there to finish the job, right? So, fair. Let's go ahead and get full cover, and then pop shots up in this general direction, and hope for the best. I don't think I need anything else from Abelard, so, yeah, let's pull the trigger, let's go. Let's go, and fire away. That wasn't that great. That was not that great. I mean, that Heretic took a decent bit of damage, so that's promising, but these Servitors, they're looking just fine. Hopefully, Argenta can get some work done over here. But Abelard, let's pop Endure on you, and let's end your turn right there. Next up is Argenta, and with Argenta, I'm kind of wondering if we pop up into the cover over here. Just worried what this guy's going to do. He looks like he's a melee combatant, so Heinrichs, Rogue Trader, and Pascal are going to swarm him and finish him off, I think. But Argenta, what to do with you, and who goes after you? Cassia shortly afterwards, eh? Okay, so if Argenta comes up to here for the full cover, and then uses her burst fire, let's say, we should be able to get these guys. No crack grenade on you. I'm just trying to figure out if we go in with shot on the run, we would get a free single shot, and then we can burst fire to try and eliminate as many more of them as possible. If I come up over here, we got a decent spread. If I come up over here, what's the spread like? Kind of the same, but worse cover. But we do end up closer to these volatile servitors. I'm not sure how far they can move, and I'm not sure how much damage they can do. I feel like they're going to explode when they get to point-blank range, right? And that makes me nervous. Volatile self-destruction. There you go. When suffers damage, the creature activates self-destruction and explodes on its next turn. Killing a self-destructing creature will also cause explosion. Okay, so it's not like it can purposefully explode itself. It needs to be destroyed. So we want to make sure we're not in melee with these guys, is how I'm reading that, is how I'm understanding that. Okay, so Argenta, let's get you up to here, because if we're there and the enemy kind of blocks her off, she'll be in trouble. So let's get you up to there instead. Let's use shot on the run. This will give us a single shot for free that we can use on our buddy over here, because he's who's going to move next, right? So let's get him hopefully taken care of. Maybe we'll get a Righteous Fury over here, fingers crossed. Fire away. Wow, are you for real right now? Of all the ways that could have played out, that was the worst. Let's go ahead and fire like so. 65% chance of hitting the main guy who's going to go up next, and then hopefully we'll get lucky. And again, this is one of our weakest... God damn it. Oh, wow. At least Cassia's coming up to use Bring It Down and her Overwhelming Stratagem, but this has not worked out ideally. Fire away. Let's go. Not bad. Not bad. Nice. He's been knocked down, so that's good, actually. The primary threat has been knocked down. Did a bit of damage all around. Let's go ahead and pop War him, I suppose, just to get some momentum going, and then we'll wait until some of those Bring It Downs come through, I suppose. So War him. Let's go for it. What else are we going to do with those action points? And let's end our turn there. Buddy's going to stay down. Cassia, let's go ahead and do what over here? I'm tempted to creep her up to here. Then we can use Overwhelming Stratagem on... she'll be just out of reach. She'll be just out of reach. So why don't we go ahead and if we creep her up to here instead, she won't have line of sight up over there, obviously. Okay. If I then creep her up to here, then I can use Overwhelming Stratagem on everybody here. Right? And that should give her Perfect Strategy, which will give her another action point to get her own Burst Fire in. Because we'll do this, so that's one action point, but we get it back. We'll do but Grand Strategist, Bring It Down, and then Burst Fire, which will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is if Perfect Strategist has actually been implemented, and I'm doing this right. So let's creep on up.
Me, if you insist, Lord Captain.
And yes, it has been implemented. Excellent. So we have 5 action points. Let's get Grand Strategist activated.
I'm not accustomed to being bored.
We'll get Argenta going first, I think, with her Burst Fire, and hopefully we won't hit Cassia. I'm a little concerned about the positioning because of that, but I suppose Cassia can actually creep a step over. That should keep us safe and in the stratagem zone as well. So let's move over to there and then Bring It Down onto Argenta. Yes, that sounds like the right call.
Give me strength.
And now Argenta is able to go ahead with the burst fire with significantly more shots coming out, right? Yeah. All right, this looks much better. Let's go ahead and aim in, what, this general direction? Or this general direction? Let's go like this, because there's a 45% chance of hitting this guy, and I'd rather the higher percentage chance than the 28s across the board with a 45 on the guy who's down right now and whose turn is passed already, because he can be taken care of next time. So, let's go ahead and pop these shots. Let's go. Get her done. Come on, Argenta. Yes, good stuff. Nice! Yes! Oh my god, that's glorious. That's exactly what I was hoping for. Look at that. Look at that. Just some bones and juice. That's all that's left. Beautiful stuff. Well done, Argenta, as always. Definitely my favorite. All right, end the turn there. Back to Cassia. Cassia now can maybe move over to here, I guess, and then burst fire. There's a chance of hitting some allies over here, but worth the risk, maybe? I don't think Lidless Stare will do nearly as much damage as the burst fire. We unfortunately can't get all the way to the edge over here. So we might have to just risk a little bit of friendly fire. I'm tempted to toss the crack grenade instead. That'll do a lot of damage. But these guys in melee will finish the Magos off in no time. Magos? Always mess that word up. But sure, a little bit of friendly fire never hurt anybody. Let's go ahead and hope for the best over here, because it is 8 rounds being shot. So yikes. Let's go for it. Go on, Cassia. I believe in you.
I have read tomes of military tactics.
Of course, both times I hit the Rogue Trader is when I trigger Righteous Fury, not when I hit the actual enemy. Of course. It's okay, not the end of the world. Let's go ahead and end Cassia's turn there. Pascal is up next. See, here's the thing. Argenta does have controlled burst, so even if we swarm the Corrupted Magos, we should be able to use that controlled burst to get some damage done, but we have to make sure that we don't block her line of fire, because with controlled burst, missing an ally, or rather, sorry, hitting an ally makes the shot count as a miss. It's not like it goes through your allies. So let's just make sure our angles are correct. And over here, what does this guy got? Adaptive Coating. For 1 turn, this creature increases its deflection by 2 for every instance of damage it suffers. Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. Let's use Machine Spirit Communication to get everyone shooting just a little bit better, I suppose, for when the time comes. I could also pop it on him, because on enemy weapons, it allows us to dodge them more easily, right? So let's go ahead and do that. Sure. Pop Machine Spirit Communication over here. And you know what? Look, if I go in with the Brutal Strike over here, 17 to 23 damage, what's our likelihood of landing a hit? Sorry, let's go with the regular strike. Still 17 to 23 damage. 82% chance of hitting. That's not bad. That's not bad. But if I toss a crack grenade and it doesn't scatter, that seems to do a lot more damage. And what we need to do with him, because of his adaptive coating, is we need to do as much damage as possible in as few hits as possible. So, time for a crack grenade, and I really hope I have more than just this one. Come on, don't scatter. Nice. That's not bad. That is not bad. I suppose I could do an extermination mark as well. We have an action point left over, so why not? End the turn there. Heinrichs is up next. Can you charge from this distance? Yeah, looks like you can. Should cause a fair bit of damage. Follow up with another attack. Alternatively, again, we have a crack grenade here, but maybe we should save that one for future use. So we go charging in. I suppose I could use Forceful Strike. Probably not a bad idea. Let's start with a charge. So charge in, Forceful Strike, then try and hit him and hopefully bring him down. I'm trying to end up over here so that Argenta has a clear line of fire as well. Let's go for it. Good hit. Damage is 6. It's not amazing, but it's something. Where's our Forceful Strike? And let's bring him down. Looks like decent damage. Let's go for it. 2 damage. That's nothing. Again, he's just stacking multiple stacks of adaptive coating. That's okay. Let's go with an assail over here. Maybe we can drop him onto the ground after suffering an attack of opportunity. But hey, we did manage to drop him. Excellent. Okay, excellent. End our turn there. Rogue Trader, you're up. Let's go with Bring It Down. on Argenta. I'm wondering about the crack grenade, but I think Argenta can get the job done. Also, my apologies, I was previously mixing up the Rogue Trader with Heinrichs. How did I misread the hair for the hat? That's on me. Oops. But it's okay. Either way, Cass did a lot of damage to an ally as opposed to the enemy when it came to those Righteous Furies. Argenta. Actually, before we do bring it down, let's get kill zone stratagem, just to make sure these hits are more likely to land. There we go. Let's get Grand Strategist, leaving us with 3 action points. That sounds okay to me. Because with that, we're going to go ahead and use Bring It Down on Argenta, who will hopefully be able to use her Controlled Burst to get the job done over here. 63% chance of hitting the Tech Priest, 17% chance of hitting Heinrichs over here, but again, Controlled Burst means any hits on Heinrichs will count as misses instead. So, with 7 bolts, we should be able to eliminate the Tech Priest. Let's go.
That is for the weak.
Wow. 0 damage. Wow, okay. Those stacks of of adaptive coating really rescuing buddy over here. Fair enough. And Argenta's turn. That was a little unfortunate. We could send the Rogue Trader up, I suppose, to at least get a swing in. And maybe draw some aggro or something. Can I? Nothing I can do to heal Heinrichs. Can I temporary wounds? 10. Leader encourages the target ally to immediately recover, etc., etc. If the target is under voice of command, it gains temporary wounds. But he's not under voice of command, unfortunately. I could have done that if I had not used Bring It Down on Argenta. I didn't realize just how many stacks of adaptive coating he actually had there. Alright, let's move up to here so Argenta still has a clean line of fire. And let's go for the swing. Though, truth be told, everybody else moves before the Tech Priest, so we don't even have to do this. There's no... Oh, hey, you know what? I'll take it. As if to prove me wrong. The game gives us a Righteous Fury there. Excellent. End our turn. He's gonna do nothing. Abelard is up. I suppose we could creep up to here and use the Melta just on the edge there to try and finish him off. Let's go. Come on now. Oh, I'm just barely alive. Are you for real right now? Let's go ahead and pop Endure just to play it safe and end our turn there. Or, if I switch, I can go charging in to finish the job. Let's go for it, Abelard. Let's go for it. Nice. Not the best first contact with the world's inhabitants. I hope we will find someone more able to hold a conversation, willingly or not. Yeah, I'm a little concerned about if there's going to be anyone to have a conversation with, truth be told. But let's go ahead and take a look at the loot over here, if I can reach it. Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. Is this better than our existing Omniscient Axe? Let's go ahead and pick this up. Let's take a look at our inventories. Pascal specifically. Where is... Looking for... It's in alphabetical, so looking for LM... O is where? Your LMNOP. There we go. Omniscient Axe. 17 to 23 damage, 3 penetration. It's the exact same thing, isn't it? Yeah, it's the exact same thing. I should have tossed this into the cargo. Fine. It is what it is. Get everyone picked up, and I do believe there's still more loot over here. Yes. My goodness. What an opening salvo. That was great. This is what, just a plasma pistol? Back it in the cargo. Alright. We have a switch over here to take us up to the top. And I thought there was... Yes, an agility check over here. What does this do? I want to investigate this first. Argenta's gonna somersault up. Or not. Maybe we have to get up there first. Oh, you know what? That might be a way to get down. Alright, let's all get on the elevator, the lift, if you will, and make our way up. Oh, no. Okay. Oh. Ho, 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 ho. Not a fan of these visuals. All right. And I can't get there from here. Okay, before we investigate this floor, because I'm sure there's plenty to investigate. Before we investigate this floor, let's make our way back down, because there's still some stuff to investigate in the lower level, I think. For example... Oh, crap, right, this has been lifted up. So we can't check out what it was that he was fiddling with. So we'll have to find a way to bring that down, probably up top. But that's not all there was left to investigate down over here. there was also this servitor over here that I was referencing earlier. Let's just see what he does. I don't want to leave him behind for too long, but... okay, look, if this is not a combat situation, I don't know what is. I mean, there's nothing else in here. There's some goods in there. There's some buttons over here. Let's see if we trigger them or what happens. It might be that they get triggered later on down the line when we try to make our way out, because they're not highlighted in red, so they're not currently considered enemies. But neither was that Megos. We okay? They don't seem to be registering our presence, which is promising. Let's take a look at these goods up over here. Let's get the rogue trader alone moving up to those goods. Yeah, looks like we're fine. We got a multi-key, which I will definitely be taking. Thank you very much. And all this stuff can be packed as cargo. And meanwhile, the rogue trader can go up over here, because these aren't tech use tests or anything. So let's go for them. Or actually, you know what? Let's send Pascal over. This makes more sense in character. And I'm only sending our melee individuals in case things do go sideways. Oh, here we go. Here we go. In front of you is an ancient but very typical console, intended for use by people not trained in the mysterious nature of machine spirits. The cogitator is completely silent, but as you approach, you sense the warmth emanating from its metallic frame, a telltale sign that the machine is working. View the log. You discover the local cyber crypt with data collected by either previous operators or the machine spirit itself. Using your access, you study the archives stored on this cogitator. The vast data repositories contain millions of strings related to receiving raw materials for processing, shipping processed metals, and schedules for sacred rituals to be performed over the machines coming off the production line. The manufactorum once operated like one gargantuan, well-oiled mechanism. The last record is from 2 months ago. Yikes, step away from the cogitator. What about this other one? Does this reveal anything else to us, or is it more of the same? The cogitator's panel has dozens of breakers, buttons, handles, switches, and other control mechanisms. View the log. You discover the local cybercrypt with data collected by either previous operators or the machine spirit itself. Using your access, you study the archives stored on this cogitator. We can use... Oh, eventually we'll use our logic, but... first... God, only a plus 55? Yikes. Let's view the first log data. Praise be to the Omnissiah, whose might and power transforms dead metal to make manifest the holy visions of the machine god. The new protocols received at the synod from the great fabricator have been executed, despite those who shuddered at the thought of changing a standard procedure. Embolden your hearts, those whose inner weakness breeds errors in personal calculations, for the fabricator is the conductor of the higher will and the wisest among us. This is the seeds of corruption being planted. View the second log data. Today, at the Supreme Assembly, the fabricator unsealed the vaults of the sacred designs and committed those deemed redundant or heretical to purifying disposal. Today, dozens of standard procedures were lost, to be replaced by new ones, which the fabricator will deliver to those who demonstrate the greatest devotion to serving the truth. But the databanks contain no notion of truth. Could there have been, may the all-knowing one, the gracious keeper, forgive me, an error in the fabricator's calculations? And he meant to say, serving the quest for knowledge? Starting to question the fabricator, eh? So, for those of you that don't know, there are standard templates and procedures and protocols that the Mechanicus follow. That is their religion. Like 90% of it. And throwing away standard procedures and things like that is extremely concerning. That is not acceptable as per the Omnissiah. This is pretty much among the highest forms of heresy as far as the Mechanicus is concerned. That's, if my memory serves me correctly, that's pretty much how this reads. And if I'm missing some nuance, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. But this is trouble. And to be fair, we're already aware that kiabagama is in trouble, but this tells us just how much trouble. Let's use our logic over here to try and view the third log data, which is hidden by the protection of the machine spirit. Success, nice. Your knowledge of machine spirits is sufficient to trick the system and subdue it to your will. A false query, a crafty manipulation of control, and you finally get what you want. The instrumental terminals have already been replaced, and the material delivery systems are being prepared for divine transformation. The execution of the new procedure has been delayed, for there are some in our ranks who doubt the words of the fabricator and his votaries. And there are some who are not susceptible to the enhancement protocol that carries our tech brethren to enlightenment. May the deliverers of fate be merciful to them. Inaction is death, and I must be returning to our great work. Praise be to the truth that will reveal the path to the knowledge shrouded in darkness. God, I don't like to step away from the cogitator. And let's leave. Not the planet, just this room. These guys, I'm sure they're gonna engage us eventually, but let them rest easy for the time being, and let's just keep in mind that they are there. Let's go ahead and make our way up the elevator again. And I'm not sure if that information we gleaned there is going to actually help us, but I'm glad we checked it before we moved on, because who knows, it might come in handy. It might come in handy. Up we go. Time to investigate the second floor, so to speak. Already a little concerned about, well, everything. What's going on over here? What's going on over here? Oh. Well, that was easy. Not how I expected that to play out, but I'll keep that in mind, and we'll make our way over shortly. Let's continue our investigation up over here first. Oh, that's down over here. Interesting. How do I get there? That's a strange one. Some goods up over here. It looks like there might actually not be too much over here. There's a trap, fair enough. We'll take care of that eventually. It's a demolition check. Over here first. The goods up here. What do we got? Melt a charge, don't mind if I do. And some junk to pack as cargo. Alright. What else is up over here? Trying to avoid this trap for the time being. Seems like we could literally just walk around it. What's this? Blood mixed with machine oil is barely visible on the dark floor. Ooh, I see some casualties up there. Before we get there, I should probably... Oh, right, these goods are up over here, so we have to go that way. Okay. So I wasn't sure if I walked past it. Well, there was someone here. It's a good place to hide. Or to set up another ambush. Agreed, Heinrichs, agreed. I'm not sure if this is bait or what. Only one way to find out, I suppose. Looks like we're in the clear. Oh, crap. Nope, 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 nope. Keep going, keep going. I was like, you know, this looks like noxious fumes coming from something very clearly labeled as dangerous. And I just stood in it. Oh, I see, I see. It's timed. Okay. We just gotta wait for this to go away, and then let's creep past. Dark patches can be seen on the floor. They're smudged as though someone walked through them on the way to the footbridge. Okay. Look at this mark. Someone was dragged. No. Someone walked in our direction very recently, but we didn't see anyone. How recently? We just saw, like, 5 people downstairs, right? What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Heinrichs? Why are you so bad at your job? Nah, it's okay. I understand. He's obviously referencing someone much more recently than that. So are we looking at an invisibility device? Something like that? Quite possible. Or goods down there. Can we get down there? Set up a ladder. Well, we have to be down there to set that ladder up, so we got to figure out how to get there. Okay, fair enough. Very interesting level design, like revealing so much to us to tell us where we might want to eventually go. I love the verticality and like the uncertainty. What I don't love is the way like that happens. Like this isn't great. It's not consistent enough, and it can really get in the way. But I really. Oof. But I really otherwise like the verticality and the level design and the layering. That was a trap that went off and hurt us. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. We're okay. Ooh. This guy looks like he's hiding and is open for conversation. Well, I think it would be in character to speak with him before we investigate anything else. Like, look at this. Well, I can't even move the camera around. It's fine. A small, heavily augmented man in a filthy, tattered robe stands before you. As you approach, he hesitantly looks up at you, his eyes filled with horror. A portable inscriber with a keyboard hangs from the straps at his front, and you can see his detached cerebral cogitator peeking out from under his hood. Death to the slaves of the archenemy. No. He seems like he might be a safe one. You have nothing to fear from us. Deus Mechanicus. The tech priest decides to take a better look at you, after which he lets out a ragged breath and manages to subdue his shaking. He heard my prayers. I thought I was alone in a kingdom of madness and depravity. Please, save me. Tell us who you are and what happened to you. I am Manufactorum Lex Mechanic Zeta 86. I performed the rituals for the machine spirits of Foundry 95 up until the brothers started going mad. Priests devoted to the Omnissiah suddenly started praising the dawn of something or other. They stopped the belts, and then they desecrated the visages of the sacred machines with unholy symbols. Some of them resisted. The others grabbed them, tied them up, and then turned their implants to heresy. I saw the madmen, my former tech brethren, deliberately connect those poor souls to corrupted cogitators. I watched as they were infected with the scrap code, and did nothing to stop them. I am recording a violation of the commandment, of thine own forge be a true sentinel. Apostate Zeta 86, your accesses are hereby revoked. Proceed with your report. I will say two things. One, that's a super cool line. Of thine own forge be a true sentinel. Love it. Two, tech priests are a lot more emotive than I was led to believe in all my years of engaging in Warhammer 40K. And maybe that's just meatbag propaganda. Oh, tech priests, they don't have emotions. But yeah, they're a lot more emotive than I ever expected them to be. Nonetheless, the icy rumble coming from Pascal's Vox causes the Lex Mechanic, to lower his head in fear and contrition. How did you manage to avoid the same fate? I didn't avoid it. They performed the same procedure on me. I felt the touch of unholy code. I allowed it to control me. I abandoned my sacred post and followed one of the traitors, serving his will and gathering all the data for his blasphemous experiments. I was driven by an unholy impulse coming from the depths of my auxiliary cogitator, where the code had lodged itself. Before I found a way to throw off the compulsion, I witnessed horrifying heresy, the extraction of true flesh and its decomposition on altars, perverse procedures that resulted in heretical abominations. I even accompanied a fallen Magos to the fabricator himself and attended the unholy mass he led personally. It was a wicked ritual, full of willful deviations and blatant inaccuracies, all to create an ungodly monster in the name of the final dawn. You don't act like the other priests who were infected with corruption. The Lex Mechanic gestures at the wires and connectors spilling out from under his hood. Praise the gifts of the Omnissiah. I managed to disconnect my external cogitator, which I used for primary data processing. The machine is corrupted. The scrap code is locked inside it, like a beast in a cage. But anyone who tries to look inside will fall victim to the heretical program. My primitive brain has been marked by corruption. I still see their silhouettes, hear their interference. I sense the malfunctions in my augmetics, but I was still saved from the great sacrifice. Oh, blessed are the workings of the Omnissiah and his benediction that shelters the weak from evil. Heinrichs tenses ever so slightly at the Lex Mechanic's words. You see his hand casually stray to the handle of his weapon, but the interrogator is in no hurry to act. You mentioned a monster. Is that some kind of weapon? No. Not those constructs that are melted down in furnaces and sent into the depths of the manufactorum. It is some kind of semblance of a cogitator, a nightmarish parody of a sacred machine, powered not by the Omnissiah's grace, but by the unholy spirit and life force of the unfortunate imprisoned on the lower levels. I don't know much, except that the fabricator saw that machine as special. It was special to him and to the crazies who defiled the Omnissiah's abode with their obscene blasphemy. For the final ritual, he even called upon one of the Astartes heretics who arrived at the manufactorum after the start of the uprisings. He did something terrible, and only after that were they able to switch the machine on. Hang on a second. Are we about to engage with a traitor marine, or... Oh man, okay, this is interesting, because either this traitor marine has been plugged into the machine, has been harvested to enable the functionality of this machine, or he's been like hooked up to the machine, or he's still around separate from the machine. I don't know, but there was a traitor marine on Kiabagama. Man, it is a true abomination. Even standing near it is unbearable. I believe that even those who have deprived who have been deprived of the Omnissiah's grace still feel its influence on them, its monstrous power utilized for unholy computations and chaotic calculations. Whatever the cogitator might spew out at the end of its cycle, no righteous soul should accept its heinous offering. Alright, now how did your crazed brethren behave? Like the grace of the Omnissiah had left them entirely, replacing free thought and progress with blackest corruption. I witnessed them desecrating structures blessed by the fabricator himself, though what do the blessings of that rotten traitor count for now? Like men possessed, they set upon the sacred instruments and assembled shells and nodes that didn't match any diagram or blueprint I'd ever seen. Sacrilege. You mentioned someone imprisoned on the lower levels. The lay servants of the main units. They live in isolated segments under the sacred machine halls. I heard they were locked in there after the takeover. Then my crazed brethren changed the systems for disposing of slag waste and covered the machines in cursed symbols. The Lex mechanic hesitates. After they started the cogitator, they dragged the survivors out of the segments under the machine halls. Well, what the survivors had turned into. You demonstrate exceptional powers of observation and recall for someone who just happened to survive. I am a Lex mechanic. Gathering data is the purpose of my existence. That's even what they use me for. He trails off, belatedly understanding the subtext to the interrogator's words. They use me against my will. The scrap code turns everyone into their slave. Before I rid myself of the cogitator, I was forced to serve alongside those who perpetrated these atrocities and witness their obscenities. Heinrichs, what do you make of it? The interrogator tilts his head. The servant of the Omnissiah, I must know more. About the final dawn, the fabricator, his mass, and about this machine as well. I could give you the coordinates, but... The Lex mechanic drops his head. Even though I was present for many blasphemies committed by those heretics, all the details that were captured and processed by my true flesh are in the augmetic that was corrupted by the scrap code. I am convinced that if I hadn't fought off that foreign compulsion in time, I would have been doomed. The corruption would have spread to my biological cogitators as well. The Lex mechanic taps a finger on the device hanging from his ear on several wires. I swear that no devout tech priest should come into contact with what's hidden in that once sacred device. Heinrichs' expression shifts as he stares intently at the disconnected implant and the still intact connectors protruding from under the Lex mechanic's collar. The corner of his mouth twitches involuntarily. Can the cogitator be disconnected and reconnected to another machine? The Lex mechanic shakes his head in reproach. Even if the very idea of exposing a holy machine to the scrap code wasn't profane in itself, my augmetics are not universally compatible. They cannot be connected to another machine's spirit. They were created to interact within the system of my true flesh, to innervate my compulsor unit and output data via the inscriber. Once I am safe, I swear that I will immediately perform a cleansing rite and destroy. In other words, there's only one way to extract the data stored in the cogitator. Don't do it, Heinrichs. No, I'm not okay with this. Look, this is a loyal servant, a most loyal servant. He risked everything, and he is clearly protected by some form of divinity, right? Whether we believe the Omnissiah and the Emperor are one, whether we believe they're separate entities, we obviously believe the former, he is protected. Because by pure chance and power of faith, he was able to separate himself from the corruption. And how can I punish him for that? We'll find this construct ourselves. We've found much worse using our own volition in the past. There's no reason to sacrifice this soul needlessly for what we could do in other ways. That's at least how I feel. I mean, I don't know. I've been affected by his pleas of fear, I suppose. But Heinrichs, no, don't do it. He's under my protection. I am his emperor. I can't. No, Heinrichs, don't do it. There are other ways. Heinrichs' voice turns dry. The Lex mechanic could have been privy to conversations that are vital to the investigation of the cult. We need the contents of that cogitator. The Lex mechanic, who has been listening to your discussion in puzzlement, finally understands what's going to happen to him, and he begins to back away in fear. No. Anything but that. I'll die. No, it'll be worse than that. I'll succumb to the corruption. I'm begging you, please. I'd rather be burned as a heretic than have the scrap code in my biological cogitator. Look at that fear. How can I allow someone to suffer under such fear? At these words, Heinrichs pauses for a fraction of a second, almost as if he's reconsidering. In failing to offer any resistance against the enemies of the Omnissiah, Unit Zeta 86 lost the grace of his machine rank and was recategorized as a resource of the manufactorum. The defilement and torment of said resource, if committed to advance the struggle against heresy, will not be deemed a sin or malefaction against a living soul. Upon expiry of the unit's utility, disposal is recommended. So, hang on. Pascal is saying that because he wasn't able to resist, even though he was, Pascal, your assessment is flawed, but he's saying because he was unable to resist it in the first place, he's lost the grace of his machine rank and is now just considered a resource. The defilement and torment of said resource, if committed to advance the struggle against heresy, will not be... Oh, I see. I see. So he's giving... Pascal is giving approval to Heinrichs to do with this Lex Mechanic as he pleases, because the Lex Mechanic is no longer under the protection of the Omnissiah or the Adeptus Mechanicus. He's not considered to be anything but a resource. Wow, man. Oh my goodness. Either I can say Heinrich stopped, the leaders of the cult would never discuss anything of importance in front of witnesses, leave the poor man alone. I mean, yeah, he attended mass. I'm sure it's just the typical gibbering nonsense, right? Or do I say we cannot allow the information to go to waste? One life is a small price to pay for the good of the Imperium. The way it's phrased makes it so tempting. But he is so full of fear. He is so full of fear. I feel like he'll just kill himself if we approve it. He'll just run off and jump into one of the spinning gears or something, you know? Oh my goodness. Heinrichs is an agent of the Inquisition. To align myself against him is to align myself with heresy. I think I begrudgingly have to allow this. I think I begrudgingly have to allow this, knowing where I fall as far as the hierarchy of piety is concerned. Right? Heinrichs, agent of the Inquisition, is telling me he's going to do something. If I stand against him, that's heresy. Heinrichs, agent of the Inquisition, has the approval of Pascal, agent of the Adeptus Mechanicus, to do what he needs to do, assuring him that it is not heresy to actually bring harm to this Lex Mechanic. I am standing then in the way of justice. I am standing in the way of piety. God damn, this was... Wow, okay. Not the decision that I would make in a different playthrough, but sometimes role-playing hurts. We cannot allow the information to go to waste. One life is a small price to pay for the good of the Imperium. I say begrudgingly, mind you. For the good of the Imperium. Like a snake, Heinrichs lunges at the Lex Mechanic, whose mouth opens in the beginnings of a squeal. Hitting the babbling Lex Mechanic, Heinrichs uses his free hand to feel for the connectors of the external cogitator, and then for the socket at the back of his captive's neck. The Lex Mechanic struggles a few times, but when Heinrichs twists the reel on the cogitator's hanging wires, the Lex Mechanic lets out a chilling howl and arches his back sharply. His hands twitch and leap to the inscriber and begin typing furiously, pounding on the keys with huge force. Who's to say he's not going to just give out a warning to everybody on this planet? The scroll that creeps out of the inscriber's printer continues to grow, undulating in waves of parchment that settle on the floor. The crunch of breaking bones can scarcely be heard over the hammering of the keys. After several minutes, the Lex Mechanic's fingers are well and truly crushed, and blood is spattered over the inscriber. But that does not stop him trying in vain to press the keys with the scraps of bone and skin that remain. Heinrichs tears off the parchment and skims his eyes over it, sometimes frowning and looking away as though his eyes are paining him. It will take time to study this in full, but at first glance, the data from the Lex Mechanic's cogitator suggests something of the nature of the cult's major preparations. Refitting the manufactorum, accumulating resources, mentions of focus points. These are preparations for a large-scale chaos ritual. It appears the local cogitator, whatever that may be in actuality, is one of the key points in this list. We can learn more if we find the construct that was created on the fabricator's orders. The coordinates are here. It is located here, in the bowels of the manufactorum. Heinrichs casts a final look at the Lex Mechanic, now locked forever in a cycle of mindless motion, and turns away. We had better hurry. You're not even going to kill him. You're not even going to dispose of him. You'll just let him be, suffering this torment? Why am I surprised? I know how the Inquisition works. My goodness. Absolutely horrifying. But hey, at least we got the coordinates of this machine and know where to go, because it would have been impossible otherwise if we hadn't sacrificed this poor man's mind. Damn, that was a harsh one, folks, but on that harsh note, we shall call it a session. There's still a bit of exploring to do over here, some goods to pick up and stuff, but we'll leave that for next time as we continue to dive deeper and deeper into kiabagama to understand exactly what went down. I hope you enjoyed this session. I certainly did. That opening battle was a joy. Exploding those servitors was a lot of fun, but if you had a good time, don't hesitate to leave a like and a comment down below. As always, it makes a very big difference in just letting me know what people are enjoying on the channel. Also, as always, a massive thanks goes out to all of the channel members and patrons who've been supporting the channel on a monthly basis. They'll keep us alive and running smoothly. And of course, a big old thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, cheers.